Hi everyone, Deni here from Disney's Hollywood Studios. It's dinner time and I'm headed to the Hollywood Brown Derby. It's a fancy evening. It's New Year's Eve. My hubby and I are here for a fancy dinner, as you do in the Disney parks from time to time. And I'm looking forward to it. This is a personal favorite. Over the years, I've gotten to enjoy some really nice meals in this restaurant. If you've never been, it's a little fancier. In fact, you might forget that you are even in a Disney park when you're inside. The food has been great in the past, and I'm hoping it's the same tonight. I'm going to take you along for the meal, and I'm looking forward to it. So put on your Sunday best, and you and I are going to step inside the restaurant. Let's go. So I got the braised short rib entree for $41. It was described as being 6 ounces of beef with a sunchoke puree, a bit of spruce chimichurri on the side, and then cassis reduction. Here's the dish. It was described as being one of the smaller entrees. After that, splitting of the Cobb salad and the amount of rolls and butter with Himalayan pink sea salt I just consumed, I'm going to be fine. This is falling. I've got to show you this. Like, it is just coming right off, so fork tender. I'm going to get a little bit of everything. Here we go. That's nice. One thing I forgot to mention was that pickled carrots are also, like 4 slivers of pickled carrots are on this dish. Whew. It's a little bright note there. That's good. Oh, the cassis reduction is so lovely and rich. It's very salty. You've got that pucker from the pickled carrots going on, and that sunchoke puree. The sunchoke puree is mild and buttery. Yum. All right, I'm going to take a bite of my husband's pork chop, which is, we'll talk about the pork chop later when everything is said and done, but I definitely want to take a bite of it. It's a 14-ounce bone-in pork chop. Here we go. Yeah, that's really good. Moist. Forgive me if that's not your favorite word, but it is moist. Not overdone at all. It's ooh.
It's delicious.
My husband says it's delicious. He's not wrong. Dessert has landed on the table. We chose what I believe, what I'm hoping is a good thing. It looks, I mean, if we're judging by looks alone, this one takes the cake. Sorry, I had to. We got the Decadent chocolate cake for $13. It is a towering chocolate cake with raspberry sauce, fresh raspberries. Friends, I'm gonna pick this thing up. Look at this cake. It's ginormous, number one. Number two, it couldn't look any more beautiful. And I'm gonna take a little fork to it, but I'm not gonna eat too much all by myself. I'm gonna need some help. My hubby is definitely helping me on this. Here we go. I'm just gonna dig in here. Get some of the raspberry and some of the middle. That is a gorgeous buttercream, friends. Gorgeous. Deep, rich cocoa flavor. So good. I mean, woo! All the cocoa. I'm going to enjoy this. I'll meet you outside as we wrap this whole thing up. So obviously, I am no longer in the Brown Derby. I'm here in the Municipalburg area of Disney's Hollywood Studios. This is the area that used to, back after Incredibles 2 came out, and there was a really big Incredibles kind of emphasis going on. This was opened and themed to them. It still is themed to them, as you can see, Incredibles. This is also where the original entrance and exit were for Toy Story Midway Mania. right there. It's now just a lovely, quiet-ish courtyard area that they will open up during the day. So if you just need a break, pyrotechnics are going off right now. So if you just need a quiet place during the park day, like this is one of my favorite quiet places in Hollywood Studios. My other one is the queue area for Launch Bay. Nothing to do with Brown Derby, but hey, if you need a quiet place in Disney's Hollywood Studios, I can recommend a couple. So I just thought we would just gather our thoughts here on this lovely park bench and just talk about the meal that was just experienced. It did not disappoint. Let me just say that right off the bat. The Hollywood Brown Derby is a place that I have gone to over the years with friends and with family just to mark special occasions, special meals, things like that. It's a little bit more expensive, so take that for what it's worth. My dish, the braised short rib, was $41. My husband had the pork chop, which was $38. So that's kind of where it hovers there. So just bear that in mind as you make that reservation. That being said, the Brown Derby is just gorgeous. The craftsman styling is so old Hollywood. It's dripping from, literally dripping from the ceiling. The light fixtures all the way on down. It's a two-tiered restaurant, so that you know. What I refer to as, I've called it the bowl or the pit, that first level of the restaurant. We were seated there one time years ago and literally felt so just enveloped. We were like, it was mere inches between us and the next table. It lost a bit of the atmosphere, a bit of the environment. We have asked to be seated on that second tier. That makes all the difference, friends. That makes all the difference. You might have to wait a few extra minutes, but if you're willing to wait those few extra minutes, it's night and day. I cannot stress to you how different it is to be on, we were seated at a two-top. We were just two people. So maybe if you're seated at a larger table down in the bowl or that first floor, maybe it wouldn't be so bad, but that second tier overlooking everything else is just divine. It really is. There are some great appetizers on the menu at the Brown Derby. That charcuterie for $21, it's really good. You know, it's changed up over the years a little bit. It used to look a little different. They would bring out some of the elements, the chef selected meats and cheeses in like a little bit, just little metal containers. They have a lovely Hollywood Derby branded charcuterie board, the board itself. So it's a really good charcuterie. I highly recommend it. If charcuterie is your thing, you're going to enjoy this board immensely. Very approachable. Nothing super, nothing weird going on that board. There's also not honeycomb going on. Honeycomb, personally, is one of my favorite things to have on a meats and cheeses board. So bear that in mind if that's a big thing for you. For my beverage, I chose the Sunset Boulevard. It is Sprite and Tangerine with a glow cube for $5.99. But I first had that just very recently with a dear friend at the Hollywood Brown Derby Lounge that's just outside. They have a whole little mocktail list. And while that mocktail list isn't listed in my Disney experience under the restaurant portion of things, please know that it is included on the beverage menu. Once you sit down, they'll hand you a hard copy of that menu, and there are all those mocktails. I love orange, anything citrus, orange adjacent. So as soon as I saw Sprite and Tangerine on the menu on that mocktail rundown, that very first time that I had it, I knew it was a winner. And I'm here to enjoy my meal tonight, so I got it again. And is there anything more quintessentially Disney, a kid at Disney, than a glow cube? How fun! This is only my second ever glow cube, and I find such delight in it. They change colors and everything. Happiness really is a glow cube. Getting back to the appetizers, one thing that you may see, and if it's been like years since you've been back at the Hollywood Brown Derby, you may not realize that the Cobb salad is no longer featured on the appetizer menu. Back in the day, it was. Now it's on the entree portion of the menu alone, and it's gone up $4 in price. It was hanging out right at $18. It's now at $22. But here's what you may not realize about that Cobb salad. Number one, it is, you want to talk about quintessential things, it is quintessentially the Hollywood Brown Derby. That salad, I enjoy it greatly. I know that sometimes, you know, some people who may not want as much dressing might talk about that. So bear that in mind as you order it. If you want to, you could ask them to go light on the dressing perhaps, or hold it on the side. But here's the thing, it's so good. Number two, you can absolutely split that entree salad and you can have it as an appetizer, which is what my husband and I did tonight. We've done it on previous occasions. And I'm just really happy to say that if they have time, the servers are tossing those Cobb salads at the table. Back in the day, it used to be done all the time when everything reopened with the pandemic. During the pandemic, it wasn't being done at the table. It is now, as long as they have time. We were here on a super busy evening. They still did it there at the table, which was really nice. And if you have someone dining with you who doesn't like the avocado or the blue cheese or the bacon or the tomatoes, your server can customize that for you right there at the table. My husband doesn't like tomatoes. I adore tomatoes, so I get all the tomatoes, which I come out the winner there. I'll stand on that. That portion, once it's split, is plenty of salad. You will not be missing out in the least. That being said, if you want it for your entree, you do you. You're making good choices. Virtual high five. For my entree this evening, I chose the braised short rib at $41. We talked about it there at the table. That short rib fell apart. Like, I was not given a knife for my meal, other than the butter knife that I used to slather that amazing butter all over those rolls. And we will absolutely be getting back to those rolls as well. More importantly, we'll be getting back to that butter. But I didn't need it. I didn't need another knife. It was so good. It fell apart, tender and moist, not a hint of dryness whatsoever. The sunchoke puree, so good, so good. The cassis reduction was really nice, had a sweetness to it, nothing cloying or overly sweet at all. It was just everything kind of married together. There was a little bit of a saltiness at first, and then as you continued eating, the reductions, sweetness came through. It was really a lovely thing. If chimichurri is not your favorite, don't worry. It's very little and it's kind of on the side of things. So no stressing there. That braised short rib is actually braised for 12 hours. Worth it. Every hour, so worth it. That's 6 ounces of beef, like I mentioned. So it's not a huge entree, but it's certainly, I left feeling fulfilled. I did. I made a good choice. My husband had the pork chop, which is a grilled 14-ounce bone-in pork chop, just like I tried there at the table. Really nice flavor, and just beautifully done. Well prepared. Our server, Jedediah, who was wonderful, described it as being Flintstones-esque, and absolutely it was. It was that big of a pork chop. So, you compare the two entrees. If you've got a big appetite that evening, get that pork chop. It's not going to steer you wrong. It came with both roasted sweet potato and pureed sweet potato, and my hubby loved both. I tried the puree sweet potatoes and really liked them. All in all, a really good choice. That was $38. Let's talk about those rolls, and more importantly, that butter with the pink Himalayan sea salt. I had forgotten, and friends, it's one of my favorite things about the Brown Derby is this butter and these rolls. And literally, I didn't have them on my mind at all when I sat down in the restaurant tonight. Cannot tell you how my soul was thrilled when I saw Jedediah carrying that basket of rolls, and more importantly, that butter, and placing it on the table. And yes, you can ask for extra butter if you need to. I highly recommend it. I ate, I think, 2.5 rolls. All of the butter. I think maybe I did finish the butter. Anyhow, it was really good. And sometimes all you need for a meal at the Hollywood Brown Derby are those rolls, that butter, and an entree size of the Cobb salad. Sometimes that's all you need. But that is not where I stopped this evening. Decided to pick a dessert. We landed on the Decadent chocolate cake for $13, and it was a really good choice. Listen, I know the grapefruit cake is the calling card dessert. When you talk, again, with the word quintessential, but it comes up again. So if you think about a dessert at the Hollywood Brown Derby, yeah, think about that grapefruit cake. And I've had it, and it's really good. I don't mind. I know it's polarizing, like some people really love it and some people just cannot stand that cake. I like it. In fact, I made it a couple years ago to mark a really momentous occasion. Like, this was a really big deal, and I turned to the official Disney recipe for the Hollywood Brown Derby's grapefruit cake. It did not disappoint then. It does not disappoint in restaurant. I am happy to see that the full portion of the grapefruit cake is once again being served in the restaurant. That kind of went away initially a couple years ago. It was more of like a sampler of the desserts. I'm glad it's back in full force, because it's a really good thing. But tonight, it was all about the chocolate. Layers upon layers of chocolate cake, just like you and I talked about at the table. So good, so good. That raspberry sauce, beautiful and bright. If raspberries are not your thing, you can avoid it. You can avoid the fresh raspberries, and you can avoid the edible glitter if edible glitter is not your thing. But man, that cake was so good, so rich, and so cocoa forward. Like, if you like a good chocolate cake, you're really going to enjoy this. It showed up to the table on the cooler side of things. So if you've got, you know, a funkiness, if you prefer not having like an icebox cake or, you know, something straight out of the fridge, just let it sit on your table for a little bit and it'll come up to room temp. That being said, I loved it. I enjoyed it greatly. Typically, my go-to entree at the Brown Derby is their filet mignon. I don't think you can do any better. The filet is always perfectly done. They'll pair a puree with it and a little bit of a veggie as well. It's kind of changed over the years. Right now, that's the Walt Disney World 50th anniversary kind of celebratory entree. They've chosen the filet. That's right at $49, and I really have to tip my hat to them, because that's been at $49 for years, and it's not gone over the $49 threshold. For whatever reason, it hasn't, and so virtual high five to the food and beverage team here at Hollywood Studios for that. Although, an aside, I recently had the filet mignon at Toledo over at Disney's Coronado Springs. Again, because that's all I get at that's not true. I've gotten several different things at Toledo over the years, but that filet is so good and priced at $38. So if the $49 price point here at Hollywood Brown Derby isn't something you can swing, maybe you can swing $38 over at Toledo. I've also had the coq au vin here at Hollywood Brown Derby. It's a chicken breast that's done airline style, so it has one bone that's left, but then it's a boneless breast of chicken. Other than that, it's really well done as well. It's got a beautiful sauce that comes with it that coq au vin has. You know, if you've had it, you know. Really, really good. Did not disappoint at all. That wraps up the meal here at Hollywood Brown Derby. It's just such a unique, iconic, old world Hollywood. From the time you walk in the door, that gorgeous lobby, careful, it can get busy in that gorgeous lobby. But then it quieted out by the time we were done with our dinner. It's just a little oasis in the middle of a theme park. That's what it is. It's this lovely little oasis, lovely big oasis, a big restaurant. So let me know down in the comments, have you been to Brown Derby? Have you enjoyed it in the past? Is it something that's on your Disney bucket list for a future trip? Let me know. And if you've been to the Brown Derby, what was your favorite? What was the thing that when I return, I should not miss? Please let me know down in the comment section. We're helping each other out here, right? That's what friends do. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Consider giving this video a like. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already done so. And please consider sharing it with a friend. Maybe a friend who likes really good food and who will happen to be in Disney's Hollywood Studios in the future at some point. Follow me on Instagram for fun in between all the videos at Deni_Sunderly. That's DENI_SUNDERLY. I would love to hang out with you over there as well. Take care, have a great one, and have something yummy to eat today, okay? Okay, take care. Thanks for watching. Bye.